Today I'm planting basil. We're getting some plugs ready to go so that we can transplant them out into the field a little bit later in the season. When I do my seed trays, I like to start out by getting the soil nice and moist, mixing it up, and then putting it into the trays so it's already nice and moist. You can see it's a nice dark color. And then I like to depress just a touch. You don't want to do too much. You don't want to be pushing the air bubbles out. But I like to just make a little depression, a little valley for the seed to fall in so that it doesn't get blown away or roll off the side of your tray or anything like that. With basil, we're going to seed probably about 3 to 5 seeds per cell. That way when they come up in a nice little bunch. So I have my planting list here. We're looking at 14 different types of basil this year. We're looking at different qualities. We look for downy mildew resistance as well as late flowering along with a good habit and productive leaves, obviously. So when I go to do my seedlings, I like to use a little business card and I just fold it right in half and put some seed onto my card here. And then I like to use some sort of little pokey stick just to help me move the seeds off of the business card into the soil. We're going to do about 3 to 5 seeds per cell. And just kind of knock them off into there. We'll be looking at basil in 10-foot rows. So I'm doing 12 plants here. My goal is to transplant 9 to 10 plants into the bed, so I'm planting a couple extra just in case a couple don't go. So vermiculite is this nice airy substance that holds water nicely. So I like to sprinkle a little bit on top of my seeding trays because it just helps retain moisture. It kind of helps hold some moisture around the seed, especially using this method where you only lay the seed right on top. Sometimes the seed needs a little bit extra protection to stay nice and moist during that germination period. Basil doesn't need light to germinate, so you don't have to worry about how deeply you cover them too much, but still we don't want them to have to fight their way through. And then our last step is to just give them a really good mist. Get that vermiculite nice and wet. Kind of flies everywhere. It's another nice reason to put it on top of your seed so that it's the vermiculite moving with the misting, not your seed moving. And then we'll cover this guy with our humidity dome. Set them over here underneath the lights. And we'll come back to check on them every day. We'll give them a little bit more mist to make sure that soil isn't drying out. And we'll leave the dome on until the seedlings pop up and they get to be big enough that they have their first 2 set of leaves, and then you can take this humidity dome off. But it's still very important to make sure your seedlings are staying nice and moist. They're very vulnerable in the small stage, so if they dry out at all, it can cause plant death really quickly. Yeah. That's germination 101.